The first person to speak is Ron English, and Ron has prepared his entire lifetime to be a head football coach. In this, his third season at Eastern Michigan University, he has clearly put his stamp on the EMU football program. We deeply appreciate Ron taking the time and trouble to come here and take time from his busy schedule to speak to us this morning. Prior to arriving at EMU, Coach English was the defensive coordinator at the University of Louisville, and before that at the University of Michigan. This gifted leader is a defensive specialist who brings excitement and enthusiasm to the EMU football program. Ron English is a proven and successful football coach. In 2006, he was named the National Defensive Coordinator of the Year. His Wolverine defense that year was the nation's best, finishing first against the run, fourth in sacks, seventh in third down defense, 10th in total defense, and 15th in scoring defense. As a college player, Ron was a starter and a four-year football letterman at the University of California, and he played, along with his identical twin Don, for the Golden Bears, and earned a bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley in 1990 and a master's degree in education administration from Arizona State University in 1995. Ron and his wife Sophia have 3 beautiful children. They are beautiful, right?
If you say so, Russ.
I thought that would just be a complete affirmative. So Ron English, congratulations on closing out the EMU home football season with a win over Buffalo. Yeah! EMU is having a winning football season so far this year, and they are just 1 win away from being bowl eligible. So tell us more about the EMU football program. Yeah, let's cheer that. 2 more games are coming up, one against Kent State, one against Northern Illinois. They're both away games. So share with us your, well, you're not going to share your strategy about those games, but tell us about those opponents and share with us some comforting thoughts about the virtues and character-building potential of college football in light of the misery that resulted from the deeply troubling situation at Penn State, which had nothing to do with Eastern.
No.
And you, yeah.
Well, I was trying to figure it out, though. Which you were telling over there which one of these we're supposed to stand at.
You can stand right there. You can stand here. You know, I'm not gonna.
Stage left, stage right.
Yeah, stage right, and it's house left. You see, we were talking beforehand about the way that the audience allied. So from up here, you guys are all left, which is odd for a business audience, but. Viewed from the audience, it's house right, so you're right-leaning, and that makes sense. So anyway, it was funnier when we were, before we'd had coffee, so anyway.
Thanks, Russ, appreciate it, thank you very much. Yep, so as Russ alluded to, I played at the University of California and from '86 through 1990, and at the time, when you went to college as a student athlete, you were offered a scholarship. That scholarship was for 5 years. You'd sign it one time, and you'd sign for 5 years, and most of the time the coach, whoever was the coach, would come into the university and he'd sign a contract for 5 years, and most of the time the universities would honor those contracts with both the coach and the players. And back then, the money wasn't as much as it is today. The coaches weren't getting paid nearly the amount of money that they're getting today. The the TV revenues weren't as high, and so there weren't as many bowl games, and so there was more patience. Well, now there's not a lot of patience, and the reality is that one lesson I learned from that, and this is 20 years ago, but I learned because our coach, the coach of my team when I was at Cal was Bruce Snyder. He was a program builder. He built a terrific program at New Mexico State, turned it around. Utah State turned it around, and went to Cal, turned it around. Arizona State turned that around. And his deal was, do not waste time. He didn't say it that way. He said one at a time. He patented this slogan, one at a time, and it would be on T-shirts, and it would be on trams and all this stuff. What it was to stay in the present, stay in the focus, and don't get distracted. And so really that was, I've been fortunate because all these years I've been around several situations that have been outstanding for me. I mentioned Bruce Snyder. I played for him at Cal and coached for him at Arizona State. Obviously at the University of Michigan, all the years of winning and doing things the right way. And learning, you know, the information was passed down from generation to generation, from Yost to Oosterbaan to Bo to Lloyd to, you know, and so I could learn all that stuff and internalize it. And but this situation that I found myself in with Eastern Michigan really brought back a lot of the teachings of Coach Snyder. And when I went there, typically when the program is down, the issues are the same. It doesn't matter if it's in Ypsilanti, Michigan, or Columbus, Ohio, or Louisville, Kentucky. The issues are the same. You have apathy. You have a lack of commitment. You have a lack of consistency. You have negativity both inside that program and outside that program. And so there are several issues. I'm sure in the business world it's exactly the same. The first thing I did was insulate the program. I tried to get all the people on the fringes away from the players because their habit was a lack of success. And they would say things that they didn't even know were negative. And I mean, that's common. I find that to be common. And I would address it with the people inside, and with the people outside, I wouldn't address it. I would just build walls. And so we did that. And one time I was talking to Coach Carr, and he said, I don't know what you're doing over there, but I hope you know what you're doing because you're pissing everybody off. But, you know, it was better to do that than the alternative. There's a saying, I almost said it, too many ladies in here, I can't say that one. Now, so we did that. We insulated the program. The next thing I addressed the players and I said, now listen, you got to understand this. This is contract works both ways. So you are here to go to school and get a degree and to play championship football and to be committed. And if you're not committed to either one, then you have to go. So we, you know, 30, 35 guys had to go in 2 years. And because what we believe, you talked about college football. This is my belief about college football and the whole Penn State thing and everything across this country, and why I believe in the University of Michigan, and why I'm so glad Brady is there, because he understands it. Football's a character sport. It's one of the last sports where you have to trust each other. You have to have integrity to do what you say you're going to do. You have to be willing to do that all the time. You have to display courage. You have to hustle. You have to know and do your assignment. So what we do at Eastern, what I've done is I'm very demanding off the field. And we do class checks. In fact, I just moved study hall this year to the football building so that I can go down there and monitor it, because they act different when I go in there than when the other people monitor it. And so, and I'm lighthearted a little bit, but I get my point across. And, you know, sometimes they think they're in the lounge. I have to tell them, this is not the lounge. Sit up, put your feet on the floor, take your hat, all those things. So it's a learning experience that way. But what we really try to teach is character, and I'll briefly finish up this way. We have a foundation. It starts with integrity first. So we ask them, do what you say you're going to do, and do it all the time. Do it when nobody's looking. And we have just given out shirts. Our strength coach wants everybody to wear the same thing when they come in to training. So we say integrity, and then under it, who are you in the dark? So we say integrity first, then trust. The biggest issue when you go in there, and the biggest joy for me, for our players, is that they're learning to trust themselves, and they're learning to trust their teammates. And that is, I mean, in any organization to have success, you have to have trust. And it's a joy to see. It's a joy to see that. And then third, we say embrace the process. And whether you're winning or you're losing, there's a process to it. And there's a process to development. There's a process to improvement. And really, when I went there and I talked about embracing the process, some people at Eastern got upset. They thought that meant be patient. Now, if anybody knows me, I'm not all that patient. I have to pretend to be patient at times, but I'm not all that patient. But what it means is be where you are. Be where you are. Don't get distracted, and embrace the, it's hard to be good. It's hard to go out there and practice today. We're going to be out there. It's going to be 45 degrees. And we're going to have to practice and practice well. It's hard to do that in the 11th week of the season after they've had a training camp for 4 weeks and 3 months of football. September, October, November is hard. So they have to embrace that process of going out there every day and improving. And then we say belief. Our kids have shown that. We've won several games at the end of the game because our kids believe. They believe in each other. They believe in themselves. They believe in their coaching and their training. And then finally, poise. We lost a game to Ball State a couple weeks ago because we lost our poise. I lost my poise. I did some things that were uncharacteristic. And they're imperceptible really if you don't really understand it. But to me, I clearly saw a lack of poise, and that's the first thing I told the team. The coaches lost their poise. I thought the players lost their poise, and we kind of gave one away there to a Ball State team that's pretty good. They just about beat Northern last night. So why do I tell you all that? Because that has nothing to do with football to the layman, but it has everything to do with football for a guy like me who's been involved in coaching it for 20 years and playing for 5. Because again, it's a character sport, and when it gets hard, you better be able to rely on character. Thank you very much. You guys have a fantastic morning, and go Eagles.
Go Eagles.